Hi, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Hayden.
And this is
Until the End of Crime. Halloween Spooky Edition.
Is it?
I don't know. I guess it's not really spooky. It's Halloween adjacent. I guess all crime is really Halloween adjacent.
I'm gonna say.
But this one has more than just its crime. Okay. Cameron, what's your favorite Halloween costume you've ever worn?
Gosh, there were just so many great ones. I was a skunk.
It makes me think of Wicked. What is the line? What you were, are. There's nothing that can stop you from. What do you mean we're a skunk? You are a skunk.
I'm not rocking the Michelle Visage. The Manila
That's true.
Luzon.
The Stacey London.
I was like a year old. I was maybe 9 months old.
And Candy made you a skunk?
Yeah, she made the costume. And then whenever I was older, I insisted on being a fairy princess because I couldn't just be a fairy or a princess. I had to be both. And I was Jasmine once and Taylor was Belle.
Okay.
So I can almost guarantee that was... So I always had this thing where whenever I picked a Halloween costume, if it was like my stomach was bare and the legs were like the pants were kind of sheer, which would have been Jasmine. It would have been really cold that Halloween.
Yeah.
And like the skunk was just all fur, so it was really hot that Halloween. So like every time I picked a Halloween costume, the weather was suited for the opposite type of costume. But when I was, 22 maybe, I made a peacock Halloween costume for me-self. And yeah, it was kind of mid.
Okay, interesting. I don't have any favorite costumes. I was always so fat that it was always hard to find costumes. Let's see. I think... I
was the Mad Hatter one year. That was good.
Mad Hatter. I can't think of anything I ever was for Halloween. I can't. One time I dressed up as like Wrath, like Seven Deadly Sins. I think that's it. I know I had to have dressed up at some points, but I can't remember anything. So, did you ever dress up like a bunny?
Not that I recall.
Do you remember the movie Legally Blonde?
Yes.
When Reese Witherspoon goes as a bunny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Mean Girls?
What, she was a mouse?
When Rachel McAdams goes as a Playboy bunny?
Oh, I don't remember. Well, I didn't remember that.
And her dad's sobbing.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing. That was good. It really primed us for this episode. I'm glad I asked. It did, kind of. It did. It does. State College, Pennsylvania. Home to Penn State. Halloween 2001. State College. So first off, this name, I'm ruining the ambiance of my intended opening, but I had to look up State College, Pennsylvania, because I was like, is that the name of the college? But that's the name of the town. But they also referred to it as a borough.
Okay.
I didn't know places had boroughs outside of New York. Are boroughs and towns the same thing?
No, they can't be. Isn't a borough just like a subset within a larger city?
I don't know. I don't know how these things are defined. And if this had been somebody's case, they might have spent the time looking up the questions that they had and giving the answers in the podcast episode. But I don't know who would do that.
No comment.
State College was a town built on the kind of rhythms of academia, right? When students were there, it was a place. When they weren't, it was less of a place. The fall semester had its own kind of rush. The quiet hum of study halls, then the roar of Beaver Stadium on a Saturday.
No? Not Beaver.
Well, I didn't name their mascot. They're the Beavers.
Really a shame that you never watched How I Met Your Mother.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
There's a whole song that talks about how two beavers are better than one.
Oh, I've seen that clip. What, Robin was like a child's show?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah. And Nicole Scherzinger is the person who was on the show with her. Like, they both were leads on the show. And Alan Thicke was the host of the show. And he was all really dirty.
Perfect for Alan Thicke.
In the way
Oh, wait.
that...
Is Alan the old one who's dead, or is that...
Yes.
Oh.
You're thinking of Robin Thicke.
Yeah.
You know what they say, though. Apples and trees, right?
Yeah. Delicious apples grow from trees.
Yeah. And then in England, they just fall all over the ground. We were walking to the train station today, and I said, do you want an apple? Because there was one on the ground next to the sidewalk. So I can't believe you made me buy apples yesterday. Let's go for a walk.
How weird. Apples are just falling from the sky?
Yeah, in front of the school, there's an apple tree, and so naturally, the kids pelt each other with apples. Right.
Have you, picked one of them up and ate it? Is it good? Do they taste good?
I haven't picked one.
Okay, well, that's like a boutique experience. People they pay to go apple picking, and you have a treasure trove in front of your workplace where the apples are being used as weapons. It would be so easy to do the American trope of bringing an apple to the teacher, just picking it up outside, bringing it in.
Yeah. Is that the trope? I feel like these days it's bringing a gun.
Okay, well, for college towns... Bask in the glory of your joke as you enjoy the comforts of gun safety. It's not the
joke, it's the way that you reacted to it. Okay. Did you see the thing I sent you? Because Taylor sent it to me and she said, share this with Hayden.
No, when did you send it to me?
This morning.
Do I need to look at it?
It's just a guy, and he's somebody I think important in Canada, inviting people to come live in Canada.
Oh yeah, they've been doing that.
Yeah, they want 400,000 permanent residents to move in.
There is a hillbilly province that's kind of crazy conservative. So as long as it's not that one, I can't even remember which one it is.
Yeah, don't go there.
Oh, you know what? I think it's the Providence that our number one listener lives in. Saskatchewan? Is that a province? Is it a province? A province, not a Providence.
Providence is in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, yeah. Also, Providence is something, right?
Please, don't act like I'm some expert on language.
I think they talked about something about Providence when they were talking about manifest destiny. Just so you know, Providence is the protective care of God or of nature as a spiritual power. I do think it was tied in with manifest destiny. Or was it manifest determination? Manifest destiny.
It's honestly shocking that I didn't know that. What with all of my energy spent on, the God thing.
Also, it is manifest destiny. Okay. Wow, I'm historical today. Okay. I can't let the ADHD win today. Like most college towns, Halloween is almost kind of like a tricky release valve. Excitement, play, pressure built. A night when the cobblestone streets and campus greens transform into a stage for the fantastic and the macabre. For a few hours, students can shed the weight of exams and deadlines, becoming whoever they wish to be. A monster, a princess, a character from a film. It's really probably one of the most exciting nights as a college student. College students go crazy for Halloween. Wouldn't you agree? Or are you going to sit there silent and stoic?
I would say explicitly in my life, I probably was the least Halloween-y during college.
Okay. Good.
So that has not been my lived experience, but that doesn't mean that that's not true.
Good.
I'm sorry. I know you want me to agree, but that was not my experience.
World, I'm sure you know this. Cameron has never agreed just to agree.
Should I? Should we take it? Should we run it back?
No. It's perfect. It's who we are. It's part of our chemistry.
World, Hayden has. Just to move on.
I'll fucking agree to agree. Whatever you want to talk about, yes, absolutely. Go off, sis. You're right. Because there's one thing I can't do, and that's continue a conversation I don't want to have. I'll do whatever I can to get us through to the next part.
Did you feel like I was hindering our conversation?
Only the picture of how I wanted it to go. So no, you didn't hinder the conversation. You just defied the expectations I had for that part of the conversation.
You know what they say.
The best laid plans, God laughs at them.
Expectation is the enemy of contentment.
Oh, okay. Okay. Back to the case.
College students, yes, they love Halloween.
They love Halloween. Yes, thank you. Oh my God. They love it.
Love it.
And part of loving Halloween.
I loved it when I was in college.
Good. You were just guzzling the Halloween juice.
You know what? When I was in college, I didn't dress up really for Halloween, maybe one time. But when I moved into a house, probably my last year of college, with Marilyn and David, I decorated the house for Halloween. And it was so scary that some kids wouldn't come to the door. The parents
I knew this.
Yeah. Love Halloween.
Love it.
As much today as I did in college.
As much as ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Cameron? For some, Halloween's not that joyful. It's not that exciting. For some,
not college students, though.
Not college students. For some, it's a night of tragedy that swallowed a young woman whole, leaving behind only questions that echo through the decades.
Did you see the update in the Brian Schaefer thing?
No.
One of the construction workers on the site came forward because he was listening, or he found some coverage.
He was listening to Until the End of Crime?
Yes.
Did we crack the case?
Definitely that.
Oh my God. Huge news, crime besties.
Hayden. He saw some coverage of it where it said that there were only 2 exits. And he was like, there weren't only 2 exits. And he came forward with photos of the scene where there was a 3rd exit. And then in the photos, the BFF that wouldn't do the polygraph, he was in there. He was in the photos. The 2 doors that had cameras on them were locked at 2:00. And then one of them was unlocked. And then he was in there 15 minutes after the place closed and emptied. He had gone through like whatever the back exit was and then came back in or something.
Oh.
Well, he probably did something.
You know, little things like this. Okay. Today's case is inspired by me listening to the Your Own Backyard podcast about Kristen Smart. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I want to do a case like that because it was so cool. And in that instance with Kristen Smart, and the instance with Brian Schaefer, and the instance with the subject of my case today, Cindy Song, it seems like, and again, I'm not intentionally trying to denigrate police investigators or anything of the like, but how is it just now that a construction worker is coming forward? How has no one ever asked the construction workers, were there only 2 exits? Doesn't that seem odd?
It seems odd that the bar would only know about 2 exits.
Was it a bar worker who came forward or a construction worker?
No, it was a construction worker. But that they wouldn't know that there was another exit or entrance that construction people may have been using or known about.
Do you think the employees at the Tuna Saloon lied?
Wasn't it the ugly Tuna Saloon?
Yeah, the ugly Tuna Saloon.
I still hate it.
I thought Altoona Tuna Saluna, and that's wrong, and I knew it was wrong, so I was like, well, what is it? Okay, Tuna Saluna. The ugly Tuna Saluna, you're right.
I don't remember what you asked.
That's good. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So the story of Hayoung Jong Song, I probably butchered that, or Cindy, as her friends called her.
Cindy Song is a pretty name. It's like
Cindy Song is
It's very sing-songy.
Yeah, it is. It has a really lovely ring to it.
It's also
It
racist.
sounds... Oh.
Isn't it? Because when children would come from Asian countries to Canada and America and whatever, when they would be registered with the school, a lot of times like the teacher or usually like the principal would be like, so we're going to call you Henry.
Yeah, giving an Americanized name.
Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. You know, it's hard for me to say, like, necessarily racism, but definitely acculturation, right? Like the expectation that people leave behind part of their home culture and just fully assimilate to American culture. And so, I don't know. But yeah, kind of the Americanification of her name, I guess. The westernization of her name.
Nothing needs to be Americanified. Okay, Cindy Song.
Known to her friends as Cindy, in the fall of 2001, Cindy was 21 years old. I'm sure you can guess how she's described by her friends, but bright, vivacious, kind. Her whole life ahead of her. She was only months away from graduation, a finish line that she had worked tirelessly to reach. She had actually moved from South Korea, where she was born and raised, at the age of 15 to live with her aunt and uncle so that she would have better educational prospects. So she truly had worked tirelessly to get where she was. In the dark early hours of November 1st, after the parties had ended, costumes put away, Cindy Song would walk out of the sight of her friends and into a mystery that remains unsolved to this day.
Oh, brother.
So Cameron, just for you, a Halloween episode of an unsolved crime. Nothing? No excitement? No thank yous?
I am thrilled.
Good.
I told my mom that I was going to just do the first half and then she could come and do the second half. I was like, you won't know what's going on because you'll have missed the first half of the story, but...
And it's an unsolved crime anyway, so...
That would be so fun.
Born February 25th, 1980, and raised in Carolina, raised in Seoul, South Korea, Cindy moved to the United States at 15.
Seoul, Carolina, and South Korea are quite different.
So she moved to the United States at 15 to live with her aunt and uncle in Springfield, Virginia, again seeking better educational opportunities. After high school, Cindy was accepted into Penn State, where she enrolled as an integrative arts major, on track to graduate in the spring of 2002. She was, by all accounts, disciplined and devoted. She worked very hard to support herself, juggling 2 part-time jobs, while balancing a challenging course load. Her professors saw her as someone with vision, and her friends knew her to be reliable, the kind of person that you could count on even when she was stretched thin. She was enjoying every minute of her newfound freedom in America, a young woman on the cusp of everything. On the night of October 31st, 2001, a Wednesday, Cindy was in high spirits. It was the perfect excuse to go party, blow off a little steam on what we would think of as a school night. She joined her close friends, Stacy Pyack and Elisa Kim, at a local favorite spot, Players Nightclub, located in the 100th block of West College Avenue. Sources were really torn about this exact address and the exact name of this establishment, but it is Players, ''S, Players Nightclub, and it was either in the 100th or 110th block of West College Avenue. That seems to be up for debate still. Cindy was dressed in a bunny costume. Her friend Lisa Kim later recalled it vividly, making it kind of a point to correct any kind of salacious assumptions that had been made. She had bunny ears and to tell that she had bought, Lisa said. It was a very cute outfit. It wasn't like a sexy outfit. It was a cute outfit. That was her thing. She was very cute. She liked to look cute. Now again, here in the year 2025, I don't need a woman to justify her costume to me. But in 2001, it felt important for Lisa Kim to share that Cindy Song was not dressed in a way that would be considered promiscuous or salacious. Rather, she was a cutesy pink bunny. And there are pictures of Cindy Song in this outfit, and it is exactly that. It's just very cutesy. It's pink. There's ears, but they're kind of like floppy.
Like a Christmas Story?
Yeah, kind of. And it is just very cutesy.
Do you think that in part it's because of how fetishized Asian women can be? No? All right. We don't have to go there. That's fine.
No. Just starting out with the hard questions. You know...
Well, you don't remember what you've been for Halloween, so where am I supposed to start?
I think that the American male gaze, there's this idea of the exotic woman and what that means. And I think that could definitely be a part of it. I think, I don't know. You say that, and then I automatically kind of think of like weeb culture, like the adult men who are like super into anime and they like to watch these kind of like large-breasted cartoon figures make noises like, oh, and do stuff like that. Like, I was introduced to a show called Food Wars, which is just like an anime, like, sexy booby bouncing. We're making food and going, oh, over and over again, and it's kind of wild. And so I don't know if that was already a part of our culture at the time, or a large part of our culture at the time, but maybe.
Don't you think 2001 was like mail order bride season?
I was too busy watching the World Trade Centers fall in 4th grade, so I don't think I'm qualified to say.
Actually crazy that this happened like not even 2 months later.
Yeah, I was still reeling.
Wow.
Did a plane go down in Pennsylvania? No, I'm just dreaming.
No, Pentagon. Well, where did the one that didn't make...
That's what I'm thinking.
It was... Maybe it did. I just put where did the and it said 4th plane crash on 9/11. Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
See?
Well, this says it was in Stony Creek, Pennsylvania.
They must be neighbors. Or maybe one of them is a borough of the other.
Not a borough.
The costume consisted of a pink sleeveless shirt with a rabbit design, a white tennis skirt, and a cotton bunny tail attached, brown suede knee-high boots, and a red knee-length hooded parka to ward off the late autumn chill. The 3 friends drank, danced the night away, and as the party wound down at 2 a.m. on the morning of November 1st, they left the club. But the night wasn't quite over. They drove through downtown State College and dropped at another friend's apartment, where they relaxed and seemingly played video games for the next couple of hours. It was really an ordinary night, an ordinary end to a night for a group of college students. It is this very ordinariness that makes what happened next terrifying. The transition from the mundane to the horrific occurs in these quiet and unguarded moments. And at approximately 4 a.m., it was finally time to go home. Stacy Pyack drove Cindy to her off-campus apartment at the State College Park Apartments in the 300th block of West Clinton Avenue. Police reports would later note that Cindy had been drinking that evening and was mildly intoxicated. Stacy pulled up, waved goodbye to her friend, and drove off. She did not wait to watch Cindy walk to her door and get safely inside. It was a small, everyday omission, the kind anyone might make, born of the assumption that the short walk from a car to an apartment door is safe. That wave goodbye was the last time anyone is confirmed to have seen Cindy Song alive. For the rest of that Thursday and all of Friday and Saturday, there was silence. Cindy's roommate returned home on November 1st from an extended trip to Philadelphia. She had plans to catch up with Cindy before they went out with friends, but when she arrived, she found the apartment door locked from the outside and the inside was empty. Initially, she wasn't worried, nothing seemed out of place, and she assumed that Cindy would be back soon. But soon never came. Concern began to mount when Cindy, known for her reliability, failed to show up for a shift at one of her 2 part-time jobs. Her friends called her phone, but the calls went unanswered. By Sunday, November 4th, after 3 full days of silence, their worry had curdled into fear. They contacted the Ferguson Township Police Department and officially reported her missing. When investigators entered into Cindy's apartment, they found a scene that was both placid and deeply perplexing. There were no signs of a struggle, no overturned furniture, no indication of any kind of forced entry. It was as if the occupant had simply stepped out for a moment. Most of her personal belongings were still there, sitting exactly where you would expect to find them.
She made it home?
That's what it seems like. That's what's
vanished?
reported. So again, we go back to that last sighting, that last confirmed sighting by Stacy, which was she waved goodbye to Cindy, who was walking up to her apartment, and nothing else. Cindy's backpack was where it normally was. Also, her cell phone was in the apartment, an item that all of her friends noted that Cindy never went anywhere without. On the bathroom counter lay a small, poignant clue, the pair of false eyelashes she had worn as part of her bunny costume. This single detail suggested that Cindy had in fact made it safely inside after being dropped off. She had begun her routine, taking off her makeup, preparing for bed. But the scene was incomplete. A few crucial items were not there. Her purse, which contained her driver's license, credit cards, and keys, was missing, and so was the bunny costume itself. An analysis of her phone and email records show no activity after she was dropped off at 4 a.m. The investigation had barely begun when it suffered a catastrophic and irreversible blow. In the days following the initial police search, Cindy's family arrived from South Korea, distraught and desperate to do something, anything to help. In what can only be described as a well-intentioned but tragic act, they cleaned her apartment. This gesture, likely born from a cultural desire to restore order or a parental instinct to care for their child's space, inadvertently destroyed what little physical evidence might have remained.
Had the police already been informed that she was missing? Had they already been to the apartment? Had they already started some sort of investigation?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly how squished that timeline is.
Because it just feels like they shouldn't have been allowed.
It should have been a crime scene.
It should have been treated as a crime scene. Yeah.
Any stray hairs or fibers from any intruder, any latent fingerprints on a doorknob, any trace of foreign DNA was all wiped away. The consequences of this really can't be overstated. The 3-day delay before Cindy was reported missing meant that the trail was already cold. The absence...
It also could have not done anything. Had they not cleaned, they may not have found anything. Because
That's true too.
It sounds like she left. Maybe not. There may just not have been anything. Somebody maybe knocked on the door.
There's nothing indicative that it wasn't volitionally, right? There are things that tell us that she wouldn't really have left the home without them. Like, she probably wouldn't have left without her phone. But the truth is this is still 2001.
Yeah. Well, and we're talking about a 21-year-old who had been drinking, who seemingly grabbed her purse and maybe thought the phone was in the purse.
Mm-hmm. And had only managed to take off her eyelashes.
Mm-hmm. Which are the first to go.
Right. That's what you rip off.
Let me tell you.
The absence of any obvious struggle meant there was no clear crime scene to secure. And the cleaning of the apartment eliminated any chance of finding more subtle microscopic clues that we typically think of as being the lifeblood of modern forensic investigation. Together, these factors created a complete evidentiary vacuum. This was more than just a case of lost evidence, it was the formation of a void. In this void began to grow speculation, unprovable theories, and the lurid tales of a convicted killer, which would later grow and take hold of this case's narrative. The lack of forensic evidence to either support or refute these future claims means that it can truly never be dismissed.
It sounds to me very much, not that you are blaming the family for cleaning.
Right.
But it sounds like that is the idea behind what maybe some sort of force or entity that has not been able to figure out what happened here is trying to suggest that
right.
the family is to blame, when in actuality it really doesn't sound, if there was no sign of a struggle inside, it doesn't sound like there would have been anything. I know that we can't know, and I know that that's what's being suggested, but
I'm not over here tap dancing for the authorities. But what I will say is I think there is... Cindy's family went through a tragedy, mm-hmm. and they were managing that the best way they knew how. Mm-hmm. But the truth is that even though there may have been no evidence at all, we'll now never know for sure. And that's not to cast blame or aspersions or to make anyone look or feel bad. Just rather, and I think you're going to see the importance in just a minute when we really start talking about this other theory that takes root. How it maybe could have provided some kind of advantage in being closer to having this case solved. But I do want to say, like you just said, I do not want to put blame on Cindy's family, and that's not what I'm trying to insinuate.
Right. We're not talking somebody driving from Virginia to Pennsylvania.
Right.
We're talking South Korea to Pennsylvania. That's it takes enough time, especially 6 weeks after 9/11. Mm-hmm. It takes enough time to plan that journey and to complete that journey for the police to have shut down the apartment as a crime scene.
Right.
And we see a lot of times where I don't think that the family would have just jumped on a plane like the second that somebody said, hey, have you heard from Cindy, right? I guess my point is that a lot of times police departments or whatever their protocol is ends up being really dismissive of quote unquote adults going missing.
Absolutely.
So if it just feels like they realized a little bit too late that they shit the bed and now they're trying to pass blame onto somebody else.
Right.
Because there would no be suggestion of blaming her family had they taken action and shut the apartment down, within the time that it took her family to plan to get on the plane and to fly from South Korea to Philadelphia.
Right.
Allegedly. I don't know. That's my opinion. Whatever I have to say to cover my ass.
No, I think it's a good opinion. So again, without evidence, really and truly the only leads are kind of these ghosts of Cindy's personal life and habits. The first and most immediate possibility considered was that Cindy left town. 1 month before her disappearance, Cindy had gone through a difficult breakup with the boyfriend she had been living with. Her family, grappling with the unthinkable, wondered if heartache could have driven her to run away, or even worse, take her own life. But this theory crumbled pretty quickly. Her friends and roommates were adamant that Cindy was getting over the breakup and was not depressed. More concretely, her apartment contained clear evidence of a young woman with plans for the future. Investigators found tickets for an upcoming Britney Spears concert and a receipt for a new computer that was scheduled for delivery on November 6th. These are not really the actions of someone who's planning to disappear. Police also briefly explored a potential drug connection. Entries in Cindy's diary indicated that she and her friends had experimented with marijuana and ecstasy. However, there was no evidence that she had used drugs on the night she vanished, nor were there other leads to support this idea. And then that theory was eventually discarded as well. Using any drug irresponsibly leads to really negative consequences, both intended and not intended. And so I'm glad they did work to discredit that as a potential reason for her having gone missing.
Right.
Because the truth is that ecstasy causes hallucinations. It can cause behaviors that are inconsistent with our normal behaviors, just like marijuana, but to a much higher extent. And so knowing that she had not consumed any that evening, that she was not coming down from any kind of related high, does provide a level of comforting knowledge that less reason to believe it was an accident or that she did it to herself. This left investigators with what they thought was the most plausible early scenario, one rooted in Cindy's habits. The missing person keys, coupled with the abandoned cell phone and backpack, suggested that she stepped out voluntarily for some kind of short errand. Her friends confirmed that it was not unusual for Cindy to walk to a nearby 24-hour market at odd hours of the night. This theory of the last normal act is compelling because it really doesn't require a complex plot or a predator lying in wait inside her apartment. It suggests that this could have been a crime of opportunity, a random, violent encounter in the pre-dawn quiet of a college town, an event made all the more frightening by its plausibility. She could have been abducted on her way to the store or on her way back. As this theory was taking shape, a dramatic and startling tip emerged from nearly 200 miles away. A woman contacted police to report a chilling scene she had witnessed in Philadelphia's Chinatown district a few days after Cindy's disappearance. She claimed to have seen a young Asian woman matching Cindy's description inside a vehicle, crying and screaming for help. According to the witness, when she approached, an unidentified man in a car with an olive or light brown complexion angrily told her to go away. The tip was specific enough that police created a composite sketch of the man. For a moment, it seemed like a major break. However, that lead quickly dissolved. Investigators reported that the witness's story changed several times during subsequent interviews, and they were ultimately unable to verify her statements. While police noted they would like to question the man in the sketch, the Philadelphia sighting was deemed unreliable, and the trail went cold once more. So, in the kind of space of public consumption and speculation, where cold cases never really die, there are some early theories that are still debated across places like Reddit and web sleuths. So in Reddit's Unsolved Mysteries, there's this kind of prevailing theory, and some evidence that has frustrated law enforcement, which one user focuses on the convenience store theory, saying, I think she went to the store because her eyelashes were on the counter. I think she was grabbed on her way and never made it there. The lack of security footage from any local stores has been a frequent topic of discussion. Others have pointed out that in local stores, that in 2001, many businesses did not have cameras capable of continuous recording and long-term storage. The Philadelphia sighting is almost universally dismissed by the online community. Mirroring. How would you say that? Mirroring. I don't like that word. The Philadelphia sighting is almost universally dismissed by the online community, reflecting the official police assessment and highlighting a consensus that this dramatic lead was likely a dead end. These kind of digital conversations that have been occurring serve as almost kind of an archive of the case's frustrating ambiguities. For nearly 2 years, the investigation into Cindy Song's disappearance remained frozen in place, a collection of dead ends and unprovable theories. In June of 2003, a story broke that had nothing to do with a missing Penn State student, yet it would come to define her case forever. The location shifted from the college town of State College to the rugged landscape of Luzerne County, a roughly 2-hour drive to the northeast. Acting on a trip from an informant, state police descended on a property at 479 Mount Olivet Road in Kingston Township. The home belonged to a 29-year-old career criminal named Hugo Selinski. Selinski was already known to law enforcement, having served 7 years in federal prison for a 1994 bank robbery. But what investigators were about to find out would elevate him from a common thug to a figure of pure menace. Authorities began to dig in Selinski's backyard. What they unearthed was truly a scene from a nightmare. First, they found the decomposing bodies of 2 people buried together in a shallow grave. They were later identified as Michael Kurkowski, a 37-year-old pharmacist, and his girlfriend Tammy Fassett. Both had been strangled. But that wasn't all. Farther down the hill on Selinski's property, investigators found another. In a burn pit, they discovered the charred bone fragments of at least 3 people. 2 of these victims were eventually identified as suspected drug dealers, Frank James and Adai Kaler. The 5th body found on the property has never been publicly identified. The discovery of this mass grave in the quiet back mountain area of Pennsylvania horrified the state and confirmed Hugo Selinski's capacity for violence. He was arrested and jailed, initially on charges related to robbing Kurkowski's father. The state police were forced with a complex, multi-victim homicide investigation. At this point, there was no public connection to the disappearance of Cindy Song. The events seemed to exist in 2 separate parallel universes. One was the heartbreaking cold case about a college student who had vanished after a Halloween party. The other was the shocking story of a brutal killer in a hidden graveyard. The public, and even the police in Ferguson Township, had no reason to believe the dark tales would ever intersect. But the informant who led police to Selinski's yard had more to say. The man who blew the whistle on Hugo Selinski was Paul Weekly, a confessed killer and Selinski's former partner in crime. Facing charges that could lead to the death sentence, Weekly cut a deal. In exchange for his cooperation, he would plead guilty and receive a life sentence, becoming the prosecution's star witness against the man he once called a friend. Weekly's credibility was immediately a central issue. During cross-examination in Selinski's eventual trial, he readily admitted to misleading investigators in his initial statements to avoid implicating himself. He said, "My stories had a lot of holes in them. I told numerous lies." Yet, he insisted that now he was telling the truth, stating with a chilling finality, "The truth is all I have left to give." In October 2003, nearly 2 years after Cindy Song vanished, Paul Weekly gave the Ferguson Township Police Department what Detective Brian Sprinkle would later call their biggest lead yet. Weekly told investigators a story that he claimed Hugo Selinski had personally recounted to him. According to Weekly, Selinski and his accomplice Michael Kurkowski had driven to State College around the time of Cindy's disappearance. There, they abducted a young Asian woman who matched Cindy's description. Weekly alleged that the two men brought her back to Luzerne County and held her captive until she died. He then told police they had buried her body, not on Selinski's property, but in Michael Kurkowski's backyard. A subsequent search of that location turned up nothing. This allegation provided the first terrifying bridge between two completely separate worlds. Any thoughts? Questions?
Remind me who Weekly is?
So Weekly had a connection to Selinski. They committed crimes together. And Weekly was going to be sentenced to death, but he made a deal to talk about Selinski and give the prosecution information, and therefore he got a no death sentence deal. They would not seek the death sentence against him in his own case.
The bodies of the people that were found on this property, had they been labeled as missing people? Missing or endangered people?
Not that I know of.
Do we know where they originated from before they were found on his property?
So, Weekly alleges that Michael Kurkowski, who was one of the victims, was also actually an accomplice in the murder of Cindy Song. And that was one of the people who was found.
Mm-hmm. But what about the other 4 or the other 3 who have been identified?
So the other 3, well, one of them was Michael Kurkowski's girlfriend, Tammy. They were found together in a shallow grave. Then there were the remains in the burn pit of 3 individuals, and they were able to identify 2 of them, and they were suspected drug dealers Frank James and Adai Keeler. And I'm not exactly sure of their relationship to Selinski, but...
So my thoughts are that it sounds to me like this guy kills people who probably had negative run-ins with or who he thinks hold information about him that could get him into trouble. That it doesn't seem like he's somebody who's killing randomly, driving how far? 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
2 hours to grab somebody as a crime of opportunity and then leave with that person and kill them just for funsies. It seems like when he's killing people, he's doing it with like a purpose where he has been personally affected by these people. But to say that is me making a connection that these 2 suspected drug dealers would have been somebody that he had done business with. Maybe he himself dealt drugs and they were rivals, or maybe they dealt to him and he felt like he got a bad product or something. I don't know. Maybe some of the cocaine from Cocaine Island ended up there and it was mostly just sand and coral. But that's a callback to...
The Legend of Cocaine Island.
Hey.
Rodney Hayden.
Oh, yeah.
How could you forget? How could anyone forget Cocaine Island?
Well, maybe they just haven't listened to that episode yet.
Where they had fucking elephants.
Unlikely, but I think what happens is people think, oh, this person in in Pennsylvania has been killing people, and this girl in Pennsylvania has gone missing, and so obviously they have to be connected because there couldn't possibly be more than one person that would have killed somebody in Pennsylvania, which that's just untrue.
You know, I think
he doesn't sound like an opportunistic criminal to me. He sounds like an intentional criminal to me, and it seems like her situation would probably, the most likely scenario is that would be a crime of opportunity.
Yeah. Well, and it gives credence to what you and I were talking about earlier. What you said, which is we're trying to connect these 2 worlds that don't necessarily seem like they match, right? We have this kind of criminal underworld where there's this intentionality in these murders, and we see drug dealing to some degree is involved. And how exactly does that connect back to Cindy? Other than being a crime of opportunity where these 2 men supposedly saw an Asian woman and picked her up and took her back to Luzerne and caused her grievous harm. And so it doesn't seem like you're right. Like, I don't understand how we're making this leap. And why are we trusting this kind of informant who seems like he has a lot of a reason to lie to protect himself?
And who said, I've lied before, but now I'm telling the truth. Okay, well, that doesn't do anything for me.
It certainly does not bolster confidence. So this kind of other side that we're talking about, right? This intentionality It goes even further because Michael Kurkowski, one of the men who was buried in Selinski's yard, wasn't just a random accomplice. He was a licensed pharmacist who in April of 2001 had been arrested for running a massive illegal prescription drug ring out of his Wyoming County pharmacy, netting at least $800,000. He had pleaded guilty and was awaiting a lengthy prison sentence when he and his girlfriend Tammy were reported missing in May of 2002. Hugo Selinski had befriended the desperate pharmacist, pretending to offer legal advice and assistance. In reality, it was a long con, and according to Weekly, which again, we're back to our informant, Selinski hated Kurkowski and saw him as a financial opportunity. Selinski's plan was simple and brutal. Rob Kurkowski of his drug money and kill him before he could be sent to prison, making it look like he had fled to avoid sentencing. Weekly's testimony is the only link between the world of crime and Cindy Song's disappearance. This makes his statement both the most significant lead in the entire case and simultaneously the most suspect. He was relaying a true story told to him by a fellow killer, or was he a manipulative criminal weaving a high-value missing persons case into his own narrative to make his testimony more valuable?
Were you tapping the table for emphasis?
Maybe.
Yes, because that's the sound I was just trying to locate.
Sorry. Yeah, I was.
I thought it was happening over here.
That's how you know I'm a real storyteller. I'm over here tapping for emphasis. Do I need to take it from a potential spot, or is the tapping...
No, it's fine.
Do you think it's going to be distracting?
I think it's not going to be distracting, but I'll probably just also leave in the part where we identify it and you say that you're an intense storyteller or whatever you called yourself.
Okay. Ferguson Township Police remained cautious. Detective Sprinkle noted at the time, the information that Weekly gave the authorities is only a story he's been told by Selinski. There is no information to corroborate any of this, just an allegation at this time. While Paul Weekly's story was a secondhand account, a shocking allegation that really lacked any proof, Hugo Selinski himself decided to talk. In a statement to police, the man with the graveyard in his fucking backyard offered his own version of what happened to Cindy Song. A confession that was both detailed and horrifying, and convenient as it was unprovable. Selinski claimed that he and Michael Kurkowski were in State College in the early morning hours of November 1st, 2001, where they saw Cindy walking. He alleged they mistook her for a prostitute, kidnapped her, and drove 2 hours back to his home in Luzerne County, where they imprisoned her in a walk-in safe until she died. After her death, they buried her body somewhere in the county. No physical evidence has ever corroborated this account. And that is fairly recent from the Charlie Project.
So this is the second time that this has been said, that she was imprisoned until she died.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, it sounds like she asphyxiated in a walk-in safe.
Asphyxiated, you think?
I mean, if it's a walk-in safe, how much air gets in? I don't actually know. I'm just making guesses.
Well,
also, there's no body. We literally have no idea.
Right. I guess the issue that I'm having with that is we picked her up because we thought that she was a sex worker. Mm-hmm. And then we realized that she was not a sex worker. Mm-hmm. So we locked her in a safe and let her die.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say Selinski was smart.
What's the actual motive? Whoopsie, not a sex worker, so we're just going to let her die?
Okay, well, and
a passive death at that. A passive death.
It is unbelievable. It is genuinely unbelievable.
I do not believe it.
No. Why would you? Why would any rational person hear that shit and be like, oh, okay. And so here, this kind of bizarre element to the story. Selinski didn't provide necessarily a motive for letting Cindy die, supposedly, but he did have a motive for murdering Kurkowski, which was, according to Selinski, Kurkowski had kept the bunny ears from Cindy's Halloween costume as a souvenir, a trophy of his crime.
preferred Troofy, honestly.
The fuck is a Troofy?
A Troofy. It's like Rohypnol, but it makes you unbearably honest.
I don't want that. I don't want that. I'm already pretty honest. I don't want to be more honest. Okay. Selinski claimed that this act of keeping a memento enraged him, and it was for this reason that he killed Kurkowski. On the surface, this was kind of a neat, terrifying solution to the mystery.
Right.
It explained everything. There was an abduction, a location, a motive for another murder. But this confession was riddled with problems. And despite his detailed account, investigators have never been able to prove literally any part of it. Extensive searches.
What do you think about his story?
I think that if I was going to lie, I'd come up with a better lie. Right? Like, what?
Do you think that he had something to do with her disappearance?
I don't think so. By the same token, I don't know what he gains from saying he did.
Notoriety. I'm of two minds. He either did have something to do with it and he's giving just enough information that he is admitting it but can't be held legally responsible for it, or he knows that he's already going down for 5 bodies, and 6 just makes him even more notorious. It maybe gives him credibility in prison or something. Or maybe he knows that it's his bargaining chip, right? As long as he is holding information back on her, he has something to dangle in front of them in order to get deals later down the line.
It's wackadoodle to me. Like, I think that you're right. I think that your posits are just as reasonable as anything else. I think what I find kind of unsettling is this idea that Selinski has one thing to gain, and that's a sweetheart deal. What kind of sweetheart deal are you waiting for from 2003 to 2025? And if you did murder Cindy and it was under these circumstances that you shared, it feels like pick a lane, right? Like, tell us what the motive is. Tell us what the motive is. And what was the real matter or manner of death, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't lock her up in a safe. I don't believe that for a second. I think I can't imagine someone killing someone that way. Was it an accidental murder? Did you not mean to kill her? And if so, why don't you say that? It's just incomprehensible. You and I, we are familiar with true crime. We have heard how people have died. We've talked about how people have died. And this shit is just cockamamie.
Well, to be fair, it is one of the cause of death options in my game, Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. Shout out, I love that game. Is a locked safe. That is one of the options for how somebody could die. But, I mean, I think if he did have anything to do with it, I think the tell is in him saying we thought that she was a sex worker, because I think what probably happened is they sexually assaulted her if they had anything to do with it. And then they would have reason. Again, what I'm saying is he seems intentional about trying to keep himself out of prison with some of the crimes that he has committed, which is, again, speculation on my part. And so that would be another example of that.
Well, and then like another discrediting factor is his property's been searched. There was never any kind of Dino
DNA.
There's no kind of DNA evidence, no clothing fibers, no body, nothing in his property. So is he lying in that he, like you said, maybe there was sexual assault and maybe they killed Cindy and disposed of her body somewhere between the 2 locations?
It was Krasinski's or Krasinski's or Kurkowski's land, or just somewhere randomly in the county.
Selinski's story has even more facets to it. He is a proven manipulator and a career criminal who literally escaped from prison using a rope of bed sheets. And
just like every other cartoon character we've ever seen.
And once told his family in a recorded jailhouse call, I absolutely deny all the charges, but if I did do it, who gives a fuck?
That's not funny, but it is
It's just wild. I think it shows us what kind of Looney Tune we're working with. Like, Wile E. Coyote.
Doesn't it feel more like Bugs?
Yeah.
To like tie the bed sheets together than Wile E. Coyote, who'd been outsmarted by a roadrunner like 999 million times.
Fair. Fair. Ultimately, we can't just accept Selinsky's confession. Definitely not at face value. Trapped in the legal system, Selinsky had very little power, but he controlled one thing, which was his story. By confessing to a high-profile, unsolved disappearance, Selinsky gains control of the narrative. He offers details that are both shocking, like the walk-in safe and the bunny ears memento, and conveniently unprovable, with his alleged accomplice dead and no body to be found. This act transformed him from just another brutal murderer and the potential solution to a famous cold case, granting him a twisted form of power and relevance. He was, in effect, weaponizing a story, using this evidence vacuum to permanently insert himself into it, ensuring that his name would be forever linked to hers, whether he was truly involved or not. Online communities have continued following this case throughout the years, and his statement is kind of a constant source of debate. One Reddit thread I saw had a user acknowledge the power of the story, writing that the confession was, quote, awfully detailed, but immediately followed up with a crucial question. But where is the body? Another user speculated on Selinsky's bizarre motive for killing Kurkowski over the bunny ears, suggesting it could have been, quote, jealousy or maybe some kind of breach in a twisted pact that they had to never keep souvenirs of their crimes. Others just remain really skeptical, with one commenter arguing that a random abduction, quote, doesn't fit his MO, and that his other known crimes were targeted, financially motivated, and possibly, and don't you dare ask me for follow-up to this, possibly even mob-related.
I'm not going to ask for follow-up on that.
Are you done with Hugo Selinsky?
A little bit, and this random Reddit armchair detective, they've got about as much credibility as I do.
Hugo Selinsky was never charged in the disappearance of Cindy Song. The wheels of justice did turn for his other crimes. His legal battles were a protracted saga, and in 2006, he stood trial for the murders of the two suspected drug dealers whose charred remains were also found on his property, Frank James and Adayi Kyler. In a stunning verdict, a jury acquitted him of the murder charges, convicting him on only 2 counts of abuse of a corpse. Prosecutors immediately charged him with the murders of Michael Kurkowski and Tammy Fassett. After years of delays, the trial finally began. Finally, in January 2015, the prosecution's case rested heavily on the gruesome testimony of Paul Weekly, our informant, who detailed how he and Selinsky tortured Kurkowski with a rolling pin and strangled both victims with plastic flex ties. In February 2015...
In what?
February?
In February?
February? I always say February. Listen, I heard Obama say February one time and I was like, February, that's it. After deliberating for more than 11 hours, the jury found Hugo Selinsky guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder.
How many hours?
11.
And they came back guilty?
Mm-hmm. The jury did spare him the death penalty, and he was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences in prison without the possibility of parole.
Isn't it usually a short deliberation is bad news for the defendant?
Yes.
But this was 11 hours and they still found him guilty?
Yes.
Well, at least there's that. I mean...
There were some jurors that really stuck it out. They were like, you're going to find this fucker guilty.
Yeah, and there were some that were like, and what is reasonable doubt again?
I want to serve on a jury so bad. I know I would never get picked. Teacher, social worker, true crime podcast. They're never going to pick me.
Or they're definitely going to pick you. It depends.
Listen, no defense is going to want to see me coming. They'll
No
listen
defense.
to one episode of this podcast and they're going to be like, oh, he wants the death penalty.
No. The options are between you and me. They listen to this podcast. They're like, we're going to take him. We want him. We do not want her. She's going to come in with crazy conspiratorial theories.
She's going to wax on to the other jury members.
She's going to write the story of what happened herself.
All of this being said, Selensky is still considered the lead suspect in Cindy's disappearance. But the official connection ends there.
This just feels to me like the police department that was responsible for the area that she went missing in. It feels lazy. And it feels like they, pardon the phrase, because I don't actually want to get into where it comes from, but screwed the pooch.
Well, you're not alone in your frustration. From the beginning, the investigation into Cindy's case has been shadowed with criticism. Minority groups on the Penn State campus voiced their frustration with both local law enforcement and university officials over the perceived lack of progress and attention given to the case of a missing Asian student. For their part, authorities have consistently maintained that they have investigated every lead, but are fundamentally hampered by the profound lack of evidence. Ferguson Township Police Department Chief Diane Conrad later affirmed that for her department, cases like Cindy's are never closed. In 2013, a crucial step was taken to aid any future identification. The FBI assisted local police in obtaining DNA samples from Cindy's biological parents in South Korea. Those samples were entered into a national database for missing persons and unidentified remains, creating a permanent genetic record that could one day be matched if Cindy's body is ever to be found. Today, the case of Hyun Young Cindy Song remains open and unsolved. At the Ferguson Township Police Department, there are 21 binders full of case files, a physical testament to more than 2 decades of work, interviews, and dead ends. They contain thousands of pages of information, but no conclusive answers. A case without a body, without a crime scene, without a confession that can be trusted, again, is not a mystery, but a void.
And without a resolution. Or a revolution. Or a revelation. Please stop me.
You know, one of the reasons this case stood out to me for the instances of Halloween isn't just because it happened on Halloween. Ooh, I just got a terrible chill. Isn't just because it happened on Halloween night. StateCollege.com ran an article the night Cindy Song vanished, and in it talks about how Cindy's story has kind of transcended and is almost like a cautionary tale in the community. A very real, very tragic, very unfinished story of a young woman who, again, was by all accounts bright, vivacious, hardworking, and deeply loved, but taken from this world too soon. For her family and friends who still hope for a resolution, the pain is not a ghost story. It is a constant and unending reality. If you have any information about the disappearance of Hyun Jung or Cindy Song, please contact the Ferguson Township Police Department at 814-237-1172. And that's all I have on the case of Cindy Song.
Why do I feel like this feels more like, to me, this is more likely linked to Israel Keys than it is to Selensky.
I forget about Israel Keys.
Yeah, well, he would love that, I think.
I don't even remember what crimes he committed. I know it was murder, and I know it was across the U.S., right? Like, okay, I remember some things.
Yeah, possibly not just the U.S. Like, I think he had victims in Belize as well.
Oh, that's unbelievable. My bad. I thought I could make a Cameron joke.
Now you gotta save that for the expert. You prefer when people laugh at your jokes. I prefer when I laugh at my jokes. Yeah, no, he used to like basically hunt people.
Oh.
So he had kill kits that were buried in various places around the United States.
Kill kits.
And it was a long game for him. He was really good at not getting caught because he would have the kill kits and he would go to these places and he would watch these people for periods of time and like learn about their habits. So when you say that she had this weird habit of going to the store at various hours because it was a 24-hour store, and then her body has never been found. All of these are Israel Keyes things. He was good at hiding bodies. He was good at being undetected. The biggest mistake that he made is that he took a girl from the coffee shop that she was working in near his home and took her to his home, and there was a camera in the coffee shop, and that was more of a crime of opportunity than anything. But most of his crimes were not that. They were planned, but they also would have seemed opportunistic if you didn't know.
Do they think they found all of his victims?
No.
So what I remember about Israel Keyes is that I listened to it. I think it was one of the earliest Crime Junkie episodes I listened to when I really started getting into true crime. Mm-hmm. And I remember like listening to it and thinking, this is such a sweeping case. But I can't recall so many details of it. Right now, honestly, the only case I remember is Kristen Smart's case and Cindy Song's, because we have these two women, both go missing from essentially a college campus, and both. And here's the difference, right? In Kristen Smart's case, people knew that Paul Flores was the murderer early on, but no one ever did anything. No one ever did anything about it, at least not meaningfully, until Chris Lambert released Your Own Backyard. With Cindy Song, there has been no one to release Their Own Backyard about her. Now it's been covered plenty of times in singular episodes and YouTube videos, Vanished or Unsolved Mysteries, I also think did an episode on her.
There's a podcast, and This Is Why We Drink or something like that covered her case.
Yeah. And so with all of that being said, her case has been covered, but my God, it needs someone like Chris Lambert or what's her name? These investigative journalists that go and uncover the truth, because this crime doesn't feel unsolvable to me. It doesn't feel like nothing can be done. Right? With Kristen Smart, she literally was being walked home by her murderer. And we know that Cindy Song was in her apartment. We know that she removed her eyelashes. We know that her purse was missing along with her wallet and keys, but her phone was still there.
Did they know for sure she had her phone with her that night?
I don't know that for sure.
Because
her friend said that she was never anywhere without it. And, you know, the truth is, maybe it was dead. Maybe that's why she didn't take it with her, right?
Right, I'm kind of thinking that I am probably not without my phone, but there have also been times in my life where I have made it to work without my phone, where I've had to go a day without my phone. You forget it sometimes, especially if you're in a rush or you're, excited about something. It's possible that you could forget it. Or if you know that you're going to be out drinking and it's 2001 and most people don't have phones at that time, maybe you don't want to take it with you when you're out drinking because you don't want it to be lost or stolen. Whatever the reason, it's also not outside of the realm of possibilities that she had more than one set of eyelashes and she tried one set on and one of them was wonky or something, and so she took those off and put a different set on. It's possible that she never re-entered that apartment.
Right. That's also true.
Except for part of her costume was there?
I don't think part of her costume was there. It was just the eyelashes.
Do you want to know the weirdest thing? I'm not... Okay, I know we said the eyelashes come off first, and I made a little joke about it. The ears come off first. The bunny ears.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going... I don't care what my habit is. I'm not
taking my lashes off to go somewhere else with my bunny ears on.
And my bunny tail? At the end of October, she was wearing a parka because of the autumn chill. She's not going in that skirt to the store, probably. I don't know. Obviously, I wasn't there.
Well, it also, kind of going back to what you were saying with the phones, I feel like at that point in time, if you were with friends and one of you had a phone, it was like, oh, okay, no big deal, right? Like, I don't need to have my phone with me.
Right.
And not only that, September 11th was just less than 2 months before.
Yeah.
And I had just gone through a bad breakup, what sounds like 2 weeks after September 11th. And I've just gone out and had a good time with my friends. I drank. I might have gotten home and did go inside and did take off my eyelashes and thought to myself, wow, I really miss that long-term boyfriend I had. I want to make sure I don't call him or that I don't reach out to him. Maybe I turn off my phone as a way to help keep myself from making a phone call like that. I know, okay, I've turned this off. Creating just one of those like psychological barriers, you know?
Yeah.
And because that's kind of what happens sometimes when you're sad, you're still recovering from a breakup and you are inebriated. Okay, I'll just call my ex sad. And, you know, I just think there are all of these different plausible facets that both simultaneously make it harder and easier to believe that Zelensky could have had anything to do with this. And there are so many facets that make me both believe that it is impossible and that it is far from impossible for this case to still be solved.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's, I think there's a podcast where it's somebody saw something. And I think that's like, I don't know, produced by the Canadian Broadcasting Company. I don't know exactly. But the truth is that somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. Somebody heard something. I think back to just finishing, I haven't even finished all of Your Own Backyard. I'm still listening to the coverage and the aftermath of the trial. But one of the linchpins in that case became a young woman who reported being at an event with Paul saying he called Kristen Smart a bitch of a dick tease. And so something like that. I think somebody somewhere knows something. Yeah. I feel that way about most missing person cases. Just like Brian Schaefer, when you started with the update today. Somebody knows something. Right. This fucking construction worker, years later, is like, whoa, there was more than 2 exits.
Yeah.
Best friend left out of the 3rd exit and then circled back around inside.
Yeah, don't really quote me on that because I read it and I was like, whoa, and I think I shared it with you, but...
That could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure I shared it with you, but like I know that sometimes you don't actually check them or it takes like 3 to 5 business days for you to check those things.
3 to 5 business weeks.
Yeah.
I looked at one of my Instagram message things from my coworker who I see every fucking day, and I hadn't checked it for 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, these are fun videos. And she was like, yeah, I sent it to you back in September. Sorry. It's always painful when people who become my friend realize that I don't message back, that I don't pay attention. Do you know, that really upsets some people. It disappoints them.
Yeah, I do know that.
Just crazy. I'm just like, sorry. It's one of the downfalls of being my friend. I'll be your friend, but am I going to communicate as much as you'd like? Probably not. Sorry. Sorry for that little sidebar. I mean, I'm talking to someone who knows for real. I'm talking to someone who knows that probably better than most people.
It was something I had to come to terms with.
Yeah.
Got my feelings hurt one too many times.
Yeah. And it's not that I don't love you.
Right.
It's not that I don't love you. It's not that at all. It's just if I'm not there with you, I'm not thinking about it.
Yeah.
It is very, and that sounds terrible, unless I see something that reminds me of somebody, I don't remember that they're there.
Well, I found this case frustrating, but you told it well, and I appreciated knowing from the jump that I wasn't going to know anything at the end. I feel like that really helped me.
You know, I know how much you hate unsolved cases.
Which is why you do them. No, it's not. I know you do it to bring awareness to them and in hopes that like more than the 6 people that listen to this podcast will listen to it and something will come of it.
I also just really enjoy them. Like, I used to find them so frustrating, and now I think, and like you said, the more we tell a story, the more likely it is to get out. And even one small step, one microscopic step forward is better than no step at all.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing Cindy's story.
You betcha.
Come on, Sarah Palin.
That's all we've got for this episode. Thank you for listening.
Until the next crime.
If you enjoyed listening and want to hear more, please subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating, not a bitch-ass 2-star rating, and leave a review.
A complete list of sources can be found in the episode description.
Recommend us to a friend. And if you are able and willing to help us produce this podcast, sign up for our Patreon.
Shout out to the person who did leave a 5-star rating accompanied by a review. And the link to joining our supportive bestie tier for only $2 a month is listed in the show notes. Also make sure you're following us at endofcrimepod on Instagram.
And our email address is endofcrimepod@gmail.com. So feel free to reach out with questions or episode suggestions.